Right, so today I'm going to talk about different types of spirits. Um, I've made some notes here. So there are many types of spirit. Benevolent beings, usually angels, but sometimes ghosts of ancestors or other spiritual beings that have been placated by sacrifices. They're, they are the embodiment of Satan, people says. So, you see, like women in the Bible, such as Delilah and Jezebel, modern day in our contemporary society, sometimes people tend to embody that persona and act out that character. You know, for instance, I hear people say all the time that that woman, she's like a Jezebel. In other words, she have a bad, dirty Jezebel character, and Delilah, just women who are just constantly evil to their partner or evil to men in general. But the types of spirit that I'm going to be focused on is more or less the the spirit of a person, like when they leave the earth. You know, most Jamaicans believe that the spirit of deceased people, that they wander around familiar environments. In our Jamaican culture, the night is the most revered, since it's that's the end of the celebration, when the spirit of the deceased passes through the celebration, gathering food and saying goodbye before continuing to his final resting place. We have our folklore in Jamaica, which is the expressive body of our culture, and this is shared by all Jamaicans. Some people say ghosts are a trick of the mind when the brain is still half asleep. But in my experience, when I was younger, about 8 years old, I remember seeing a sort of ghost like figure, and I ran to Mother Dearest to tell her about the shadow that I saw. And she explained that it was this man who died quite a while ago, and because his soul didn't get any rest, then he was still wandering around. So I just need to read a bit about these but benevolent beings and what is the significance of these ghost-like figures. So, as I've noted here, it says types of angels and demons. Angels and demons have been categorized as benevolent, malevolent, or neutral being that mediate between the sacred and the profane realms. Now, a demon is a supernatural being typically associated with evil. Prevalent is historically in religion, occultism, fiction, and, as we say, our Jamaican folklore. But more importantly, in ancient Egyptian cultures, these can be divided into two classes. One's the guardian, and the other is the wanderers. Now, the role of the guardians are tied to a specific place. Their demonic activities, topographically defined in their function, can be towards those who have the secret knowledge to face them. So these demons, they're protecting the underworld, and they may prevent human souls from entering paradise. So this is basically their jobs, the job of the guardian. The wanderers, this is spirit, are associated with possession, mental illness, and death and plagues. So most time you feel depressed or feel like you feel tormented, feel haunted, then these wanderous spirit, many of them serve as executioners for the major deities. That's in ancient Egyptian culture. A lot of people don't believe in ghosts, but the spirits, when they don't find rest, this is what happens. They can be agents of chaos arising from the world beyond creation to bring about misfortune and suffering without any divine instructions, led only by evil motivation. So the influences of the wanderers can be warded off and kept at the borders of on the human world by the use of magic, but they can never be destroyed. So ghosts really exist. This is all that this is actually saying. Um, Let me just look what I've written here. When somebody dies, their soul wander around for a period of 9 nights. That's what the significance of a 9 night is. And then um the person is already dead, so their soul after death, their soul lives on in a world beyond the physical world. It is commonly accepted that a person has three parts: body, soul, and spirit. So when your body die and your spirit die, your soul lives on and on. So at a traditional Jamaican wake, families gather over 9 consecutive nights to share, familiar stories about the person while they were still alive. We eat and drink and remember loved ones. But on the final night, the spirit departs to their ancestral roots in eternal peace, where they're supposed to. But some people don't find rest when they die. They you call them haunted. So they roam the earth, and as I explained earlier about the wanderers, they got a wandering spirit, and they appear in different shapes and forms and size to sort of scare people. So people will say, oh, I saw a ghost, that gentleman that I saw. Good and contented souls are instructed to depart to the mercy of God. They leave the body and are taken to the seventh heaven, wherever that is. Okay? But putting ghosts aside and all that sort of thing, you've got the spirit of a person. For instance, if you invite certain people into your household, they can come into your household with a bad spirit and leave a bad vibes, bad atmosphere, because they haven't got no peace with them, and because of that, they've got a bad spirit. A bad spirit roaming about with them. So that spirit come into your house and disrupt the harmony within your household. So this is why we have to be careful what sort of people we entertain into our household. The second type of spirit that I've always thought about is in a relationship, you're involved with one man and that man involved with another woman and so forth. And because of that, now that bad spirit come into your house, into your bedroom, and disrupt the atmosphere into your life. So we have to be careful who we associate with in terms of having a relationship and who that person is mixing with. Yes, bring a bad vibes. It's just basically the romantic involvement. We have to be extremely careful. And the last thing that I gonna speak about is people who like our hairdressers, your physiotherapists, people like that, even your doctors, they have to have the fear of God within them, because if they're not God fearing and they mix with demonic influences, then that vibes can come off on you. Like my hairdresser, before she do my hair, she pray. She often say a prayer, and because of that, my ear grow. You see, my ear grows and stuff like that. So the bottom line is this gift of the spirit is very important in our life. The Holy Spirit give you several gifts, which are wisdom, understanding, counsel, fortitude, piety, fear of the Lord, and knowledge. Powerful. It's very powerful. When we were growing up, we had spiritual healing services that offered spiritual baths to combat the forces of evil, and that would give us like a protection while we were growing up. God's spirit offers protection. You understand? So this is what I've got to say about spirits today. I'll tell you more about it as I go along, but in the meantime, I'm just studying and looking more into the human existence and what we can be exposed to if we're not careful. When I was incarcerated, my heart was protected by my joy in the Lord. It gave me a protection from spiritual threats. God's joy is always with us. regardless of circumstances. Because in St. John 4:4 it says, greater is he that is in you than the spirit that is in the world. You understand? So spiritual joy overflows from our relationship with God. And Satan's temptation was essentially an attack on, our foreparents' well-being when he tried to tell them not to. Well, he tried to tell them to disobey God and all that sort of thing. So we can always rejoice as a Christian person, a Christian believer, so to speak. You can always rejoice in whether you're in poverty, if you lost someone, you bereave, or you're experiencing failure or heartbreak. You know that the Spirit of God, because God is a spirit, and they that worship Him must worship in spirit and in truth. So whenever like I'm feeling down, I reach out to God Himself. God is not a person like me and you. God is a spirit, omnipotent, omniscient, and He's omnipresent. That means He's here, there, and everywhere, all in one. He can be anywhere at any time. You understand? So always remember, when you're feeling low or feeling down, just reach out to God. Reach out to God, because He's always available at a moment's notice. So take good care of yourself. Like I said, be careful who you associate with and who you intermingle with, because these people come with different spirits, and that spirit come and that spirit linger around you, and it can steal your joy. The spirit, God doesn't give us a spirit of fear. He gives us a spirit of courage to persevere and to press on and to live fulfilled lives. Okay? So thanks for your time, and I'll speak to you very shortly about the languages. I'm still doing that project. Sometimes it takes me a while to put things together because of my busy schedule with work and all that, but all in due course, you'll get each and every topic that I've assigned for this session. All right, so take care. Thanks for watching. Have a blessed evening. Bye bye.